G'day guys, welcome back. Welcome to Pouring Your Heart Out with Julie. I am going to do a resin pour for you today, and I'm going to try and do like a white marble with a little grey streak and some gold through it, some coasters. So that'll be fun. I haven't tried anything like this before. Now the resin I'm using is this one. It's called Barnes Clariti. It's an Australian one. It's a two-part one. That's the one part, and then that's the other part. And you're supposed to mix them per volume, like 200 mils of one, 100 mils of the other. When I put the 100 mils in the cup and I weighed it, it weighed 100 grams. When I did the 200 mils in a cup, it weighed 225 grams. So now I just have to weigh them. I know that I do 100 grams of one, 225 grams of the other, and then that's a 2-to-1 ratio. So that's what I've got in here. And I've been mixing that for about 4 minutes. So very few bubbles. There's a few obviously, but very few bubbles. What else? Oh, this mold. This mold is a really good quality, thick, heavy mold. And, you know, it's totally up to you whether you want to spend, this will cost me $60 Australian, whether or not you want to spend that, or, oh, just grab the other one, or whether you're, you know, happy to spend $15 on something like this. You know, also works. But if you want to get a better quality, thicker, heavier mold, you do have to be prepared to pay for it, you know. As they say, pay peanuts and get monkeys. So that's what I'm gonna use this one. This one was from Shattered Shapes on Etsy. I have got in production, and I've sort of told you a little bit about it already, I have got my own mold design in production. I can't show it to you because it's being made, but that's basically a picture of what's similar to what it's going to be. So it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 geode coasters, and then in the middle there is like a platter or a tray. So it's a 7-piece. It's going to be 40 centimeters across, which is 16 inches, and it's going to weigh about 1 kilo. So a big, thick, heavy one, similar to this kind of quality. So if you want one, I'm taking pre-orders. I've sold already half of what I'm getting in. I'm only getting 100 in because the shipping costs an absolute fortune because they're so heavy. You know, a kilo each, 100 of them, it's 100 kilos. So if you want one, message me. Just message me on Messenger and I'll send you the details. They're $75 US or 120 Australian. I do ship worldwide, so if you want one, let me know. They'll still be a few weeks before they arrive, but I am taking pre-orders of a $20 US deposit. I can't wait to get it because it's going to be so much fun. It's a 7-piece set, you guys. Right, let's get going. So for my marble, I want a white. So I'm going to use this one. It's by Pixie Dust Pigments. It's called Mermaid Crystal White, and to just add a little bit more opacity to it, I'm going to add a few drops of the white alcohol ink by Pinata. Let me just put my dogs away. They're going to keep barking. Right, put the dogs outside. So for the grey aspect, because you know how marble's got like a grey through it, I thought I'd use the Pearl X pigment in silver. See, it's quite a dark silver, like a gunmetal. So I thought that would be pretty. And I don't mind if it kind of moves a little bit. I don't want like a straight line. And then, oh, this is new. In Australia, we can't get testers, but this is actually made by testers. It's a gold for like model cars and things like that. So look at that. Oh, so shimmery. Been waiting for this to come. I bought 4 bottles of it in gold and 2 in silver. So that's what I'm going to use for my little gold lines through it. I'm also going to paint the edges in that gold. So looking forward to that. And then I've got some clear as well. So let's just get started. I've got 325 mils of resin. Now I must remember, people tell me, put the pigment paste powder in first, if it'll fit. So let's do a spoonful of that. Might probably need to do 2 cups actually, but we'll do the one first because I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to need. I'll pour that in on top of the pigments, kind of saturate them. I'm going to do a full cup. Probably need to do 2 of these white cups actually. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pour my paints and then I'll mix. Oh no, I won't mix off camera. I was going to mix off camera, but I've only got 2 colours to mix, so I'll just mix here in front of you. Let's put down a piece of paper towel. There we go. Just in case I drop any little bits of pigment powder in, then at least they're going onto my paper towel and not into my mould. It's taking a while to mix up, getting there. So I wasn't quite sure whether I should use like a shimmery white or whether I should just use normal white paint, like acrylic paint, because I don't have a white pigment. Actually, what have I got? Oh, I've got Cast and Craft white. Anyway, we'll see how this goes first. I don't mind if it's a bit shimmery, hey, as long as it gives the effect of being marble. So that's quite transparent at the moment. So let's pour in. I'm just going to put a squirt in of the white alcohol ink and see if that will make it a little bit opaque, but still have a bit of a shimmer, because that's pretty, isn't it? A little bit of a shimmer. I think so. You can still see through the stick. I'm going to give it another squirt of white, like so. So you can add up to 10% of colour in your resin. And this cup holds about 150 mils or 150 grams. So ideally you could add 15 grams of paint or pigment, which I wouldn't do. All right, let's, I'm thinking maybe it needs more. Oh no, let's leave it. We'll leave it. Now, I only need a little bit of grey, so I'm just going to use this tiny little cup here. And I don't need very much of it at all, I don't think. So let's just do a little, I don't know, 1/4 of a little teaspoon, hey? These are tiny little teaspoons, these. And we don't need much resin. Just pour a little bit on that. This is a 30 ml cup. So I've probably got, I don't know, 15, I guess, 15 mils of resin, just a little shot glass. So we're going to have a sparkly bit of a coaster today. Sparkly marble, hey? That looks pretty. Still see through it. What if it needs just a... it's hard to know how it's going to react in there. I guess it might go a little bit pale, won't it? Let's pop 1 drop of alcohol ink in. So once it hits the white resin, it might change colour. So I've got the black alcohol ink. Let's just do 1 drop. There we go. You see how that goes. Because I did want more of a grey than a silver, but we're still going to get the silver. Oh, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, so that's that one. That one ready to go, and I'm just going to pour some clear into this one. Only 1/2 cup. It's a bit hard to start pouring when that's full, so I've still got some resin left. I'm just going to pop it over there. We'll get rid of that. I use that to wipe my hands on. Bit of a blow. All right, now I'm going to zoom you in. You don't need to watch me mixing anymore, so I'll just move you a little bit. and zoom you in. How's that? Pretty good. All right, let's do this. And the other thing I'm going to do this in stages. For the video, it's just going to look as if it's all in one, but I'm going to wait to put my gold on top until my resin has started to set and gone a bit thick. Otherwise, it's just going to sink. All right, so pour some of that in. As I said, I probably have to make up another cup of this, but I wanted just to see how much I was going to need first. Definitely going to need another cup of it. But I want to put some clear through this, just to give a more of a natural, wavy kind of a look. And I didn't want to use up all my white, but I do want to fill these. I want these molds to mound. And there's already a hair in it. It's probably in the coaster. Right, I'm just going to pour that in there. Make up some more white. Oh, I didn't do my white first. Now, I'll do that in a minute. I'm just going to pour in a little bit of clear. Just sort of like that. Just a bit of a pattern. No particular pattern. Let it just sit there and do its thing for a minute. And I'm going to make up some more white, the same as I did before. Clean my spoon, haven't I? Because now I've got black on it. Oops, better clean it better than that. Could just use another spoon, couldn't I? All right, here we go. Another spoonful of that. Oops, that's probably a little bit much. I don't know that it's a pure white. Does it look pure white to you? I'm not sure. And I did 2 squirts of the pinata, didn't I? So let's do that. Oh, actually, can't see now because I'm off screen. 1, 2 squirts of that. Now, it's just going to sit there for a minute while I stir this. Actually, I'll just pause you while I stir. It's going to take me like a minute. I decided that the white is looking a little bit too transparent. I'm going to add in the second lot, I'm going to add some of this white pigment paste by Solid Solutions. So I'm just going to do that. Just need to give it a stir first because it's kind of separated, so just give it a stir. And then I'm going to add just about that much on the end of the stick in there. Let's see how that goes. I've got a few of these colours of pigment paste, and I actually mix them together to make other colours. So my phthalo blue with the white to make a light blue, the red and the white to make a pink. It probably wasn't a good idea using a metallic to do the white. So this will blend. I'll just blend the two together. That's looking more of a white, but we'll just see. Hey, first time, let's pour that in. And I'll probably get like a nice little effect with having 2 different ones in there. There's a little bit left. I want to pour a little bit more of the clear in, just because it makes a nice little effect as well. This one's pretty full. It's already almost mounding, so I'm just going to use up what I've got left. I don't really want to make up any more white if I can help it, because I've already made up 2 batches. And I can always fill them up with a little bit of clear if I need to. Just give it a bit of a swish around. Okay. This one needs more. I do still have more clear in my cup though. Sorry if this is taking a little while. I'm just very new to this, as you guys know. All right, now I'll put a little bit of this silver on, or this grey, I should say, and see what happens, because it may well just sink, in which case I'll probably have to come back. I don't mind if it actually sinks and spreads a little bit and gives that sort of marble look. I don't want, you know, just a straight line, so I guess that's a good thing. Let's try it. Whoa, I'm not getting a line as such. Hope it doesn't just sink. There we go, look at that. I just have to get a little bit closer and kind of touch the surface of the resin. Let's do this first. Give it a little bit of a X marks the spot kind of a look. And we'll see what happens. It's probably going to spread a little bit. Hope so. Not too much. Don't need too much. It'll all be a little bit different. All right, so I'm going to see what that looks like. See what happens. I'm going to torch it. Let's torch. I'll take my gloves off first. I think it's always a good idea if you're wearing plastic gloves to take them off before you torch. Just in case, you know, if you burn yourself, these are going to melt and stick to your hands. So just be careful. Let's use my little creme brulee torch. It's got a tiny little flame on it, so I can get pretty close without heating my mould. All right, so I'm going to pause you for a bit. See how the silver's kind of bleeding in a little bit? That's perfect. That's what I want. So I'll put you on pause and I'll come back in, I don't know, 10 minutes or so and see what it's doing. It's only been a few minutes, but looking at it, I just think that the grey just in the middle looks a little bit odd. So I'm going to take a few of the grey ones sort of to the edge a little bit, just to make it look a little bit more kind of natural. What do you think? Just like that, rather than them just, you know, kind of stopping. Not all of them, but just a few. We want them to look sort of natural, I guess. How's that? Is that better? I think that's better. Something like that anyway. Okay. So yeah, I'll come back. I can't put the gold on. Actually, I wonder what would happen if I moved it around a little bit with my heat gun. Just sort of blended that a little bit. Just got to be careful I don't overflow them, but maybe just try and kind of move them a little bit and blend them. Make them look a little bit more natural with my heat gun. So it's just moving it around a little bit. Opening them up a little bit. I think that looks better, hey? Yeah? What do you reckon? I think that's doing the trick. Just spreading them. They probably will open up on their own anyway, but just a little bit of heat and a little bit of the wind is just helping it to kind of blur a little bit and look like natural marbling veins. Hope I haven't got too much of the silver on there now. Alright, I'll leave it like that. I'm sure the resin will move anyway on its own and create a little bit more of a pattern. But just helping it along a bit, aren't I? Okay. Righto, we'll come back. As I said, I can't put the gold on until this is almost set, so we're going to have to wait a while. Oh, I forgot. That was the other thing I was going to do. I've still got resin left over, so I'm just going to do a little coaster. Can you see? What about if I put it here? Just put it there. It's always nice to have one of these left over. A little guy. This was a 3 cavity little mix thingy, and I just cut them. So I've still got that white left over. I've just used up all, well, I made up some more white, but I've used up all my resin because I still had some left in that big clear cup, and I don't want to waste it. So this is what I decided to do, is just to do one little coaster. And then I've got little mix matches, like I've got one of this, I've got one of something else, and one of something else, and why not? Okay, now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add some of the clear, just to do its little thing, and help fill up the coaster a little bit as well. Let's get all that out. And I'll give it a bit of a swirl. Try not to touch the bottom of your mold when you're swirling, because you can damage it with the stick, so just be careful. And now we'll do the same with the silver. I'll have to get my blower out again and do that one. Not too much. We don't want too much. It's all about the gold in this one. So I'm going to use my heat torch, get the bubbles out. Oh no, I didn't take my gloves off, did I? And then we'll use this one again, embossing heat gun. It doesn't get very hot. See, I can put my hand in front of it. It really doesn't get very hot. It's more about the movement of it, blowing a bit of hot air. But it's really not hot. Right, enough. Stop it, woman. Enough. This one's got a little bit more dark through it, hasn't it? Okay. All right. We'll wait 10 minutes. I'll be back. It's been about 20 minutes actually since I have finished playing around with this silver. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Does that look like natural marble to you guys? This one here, the little one, I think because it was thicker, the silver actually sunk more. You can see the little wispy bits. I put some more over the top, so we'll see. Now I'll test this one first. We'll give this a bit of a shake. Shake, shake, shake. It's going to be quite a thick coaster, that one. And I'll practice on that one because I don't want to ruin my good one. Move all these paints out of the way. So I'm just going to dip the end in there, and it may not actually be set enough. Yeah, see how it's kind of spreading? That might be a bit thick to use, that one. How about if I use the end of a skewer? Let's try that. This can be my little test one. And use the tip of a skewer and see if that's any better. That's better. Okay, so it's starting to set a little bit now. Actually picked up that resin. It's still quite thick there on the end though. It made a blob. I wonder how I stop that from happening. Maybe do that first and then run it through. Still quite thick there. Not as thick. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of a... I'm picking up bits of resin. What can I use? tiny little bit of resin left in here. I wonder if I can dip that into that resin. Oh, see how it's starting to lift? I better get a wriggle on. All right, enough of practice. I'm just going to have to go for it. What if I mix it with my resin? I'll start in the middle, actually. It's actually starting to move the resin a little bit. Move it, like pulling it. I don't really want it to do that. We don't need a lot. I have no idea if this is going to work, you guys. It's pretty strong gold though, isn't it? Like, it's certainly making itself known. I'm only using a tiny little bit. By the time I finish the fourth one, I'll no doubt have it down pat. And I'm not going to mix, I'm not going to like wipe my stick each time, because it's just resin going on resin. So, all right. Like, it's nice and thin because it's only a little coaster. I only want little tiny veining. If I was doing like a big platter, you know, I'd want it thicker, and I'd maybe use the other end. I have no idea. If you guys know how to do this, feel free to let me know. Just having a little play. See how it's moving the resin, like it's pulling it along with it. I do try to go to the edge there a little bit. Maybe I'll start in the middle and just like pull it towards the edges like that. Maybe that will work, hey? And as I said, as I get back to as I get closer to the end, my last one, I'll probably work it out by then. We'll just put some sort of natural veining in. Oh, look, I'm doing it, you guys. I'm doing it. I'm getting there. Little thin bits like that. Yes. Now she's got it. And then off to the edge. I think anyway. Maybe it'll just be a 3-piece. This one is a bit much. Maybe I can actually pull. No. It's starting to set already. Can't do that. Let's get a wriggle on. I'll take a little bit more of this resin from the bottom of my cup just as well. I had a little tiny bit left. A little bit of that. And mix it around. Yeah, just straight paint was too much. Like, it was just, you saw what it was doing. It was blobbing. Just want it to kind of, oh, look at that. That's set already. All right, let's get a brittle on before it sets. Because, you know, you have to let it set a little bit. Otherwise, your gold's just going to sink. Does that look like natural veining? I hope so. We don't need too much, do we? See if I can kind of fix this one up a little bit. Try and make these blend a little bit better. And that way I can still maybe have a 4 coaster set. Just continue those. Continue that to the edge. How am I going? How am I going? Does it look kind of real? Hope so. All right, I think that'll do. Hey, don't want to overdo it. Wow, I didn't use much gold at all, did we? Let's do a little bit of a practice. Oh no, this one's quite set, I think. Quite set. It's quite hard in the middle there. It had an extra torching. Okay, well that'll just be a practice one. So there we go. Well, that was fun. See how you learn as you go. Hey, I mean, I had no idea what to do. But so probably from the, because this resin has 25 to 35 minutes work time. So when I stopped pouring, then I counted like 20 minutes and came back, or 25, so probably a little bit too long. We didn't need to wait quite that long. So I don't think it's going to really change much now because it's already, you know, starting to set. So maybe come back a little bit earlier so the paint can kind of blend a little bit more, because I wasn't really I wasn't able to blend it. But I think I'm quite happy with that for the first one. Hey, and I think it'll look really pretty once I've turned it out and put the gold on the sides. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for the unmolding. See you soon. Morning, everyone. It's the next day. Coasters have set. And they're wanting to pop out already. Look at that. They just come out so easily. All right, come on then. You want to come. Let's go. So obviously there's nothing to see on the back. Just white. Sparkly white. So but it's the front that we're looking for, isn't it? Let me turn that ring light off. There we go. Otherwise you just get that big glary ring. Now look at that. You can pick up the gold. So what do you think? I'm not quite sure if I've done the gold lines correctly. Maybe they should have just like started there and gone right across and then right across. Mine are kind of a little bit squiggly, but not sure. But it's, look, I'm happy with it for my first one. Hey, we'll pop them over there. Let's get the next one out. And then I am going to just paint the edges with the gold. I'll just do one of them. There's that one. This one had a little bit more gold on it up here. Put a little bit too much on. But hey, we learned a lot from that video, didn't we? Well, I know I did. Hopefully you did too. So that's that one. I'll just sit you in front of it a little bit. And this one. So there's no real lip on them, because I filled them up all the way, so I don't have any lip to sand off, which is lovely. This was the first one I did, so it's got a lot more gold on it and it's not really placed very well. Or was it this one? I can't remember. But they're all pretty, I think. Look at that. Little sparkly back there. So I'm happy with the what do you call that? The veining. It's just my attempt at gold probably was, the gold wasn't probably my best, but that's all right. We'll try again, hey? So I'm going to use, let's do this one. This is my favourite. Little delicate gold. I'm going to use this. Now, as I said earlier, it's made by Testers, but I can't get Testers here in Australia. So this is Model Master. If you look it up, Model Master is made by Testers. So hopefully, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. Hopefully it's the same thing. I'm just going to put a piece of paper towel in there, just so that I don't drip on my velvet background. You sit there for a minute. And I've got my glove on so that I can hold the coaster. And this is quite a firm brush. It's just an old brush, but it's quite a firm, wiry sort of a feel to it. So let's try this, hey? Dip a little bit in. Never used this paint before. Well, not to paint anyway. Now, how do we do this? Do we... Oh, it goes on nicely. Well, you look at that. You get really good coverage. I guess it's easier than the pen. Still going. Because it's thicker on there, it's going to be... I guess it's going to... Oh, why can't I focus? Oh, there we go. I guess it'll be easier to smudge because it's a thicker coat. But look at that, I've been in quite a lot. I'm halfway done already. Although, was that me? Did I smudge? Not sure if I did that or not. Oh, it wipes off pretty good. I'm not sure if I did that. I might have. I have to be really careful not to touch the middle. Come on, focus. There we go. Go around the edge. Oh no, I think it's just the brush that's doing that. Maybe I should go that way. It's an old brush. It's probably not doing the best job. It's kind of bleeding a little bit. I'll have to go and get myself a little new brush. I'm going to put a little bit less on and just do the very tip of the brush. Will that work? That seems to be working. Oh, focus. It's trying to focus on the front and then the coaster's on the background. It doesn't really know what to focus on, poor little thing. Okay, well that was really easy. Now, let's see if I can do... I'm going to do the little edge there. I'm not going to put any more paint on the brush. I'm just going to try and just run the top of the brush over the edge of the coaster. Like the bottom of it. It's not really working very well. It's not too bad. I'm getting a tiny little bit of paint on there. Let's put a little bit more on. Wipe it off. And then I'll just use the underneath of the brush. Oh yeah, that's working. Because I only want a thin little strip there. I don't like it too thick on top. You definitely need a new brush, Julie. I didn't think about that before I started the video, that I didn't have a proper brush. This one's just a bit old and scraggly, as you can see. See, it's a little bit old and scraggly, so I'll get a new brush today. I've got to go out, excuse me, I've got to go out and get some more silicone to make some molds. So I'll see if they've got a little paintbrush for me. Because then I can do a better job at this. This is not the best. Oops, there's a hair. Okay, there we go. It's done. What do you think? Oh, look at that gold. That gold is just amazing. And the finish on it is so good. So it's made for model cars. So I can't see that it's going to, you know, come off in a hurry. But I'll test it when it's dry. I'll see if I can, you know, scratch it. All right, so I'm going to go and do the rest of these. And I'll show you the finished product shortly.